Good morning, everyone. This is JC, St. Louis's oldest living hippie. And from Reuters via Yahoo News, um, I want to read you a little bit of this article. It's very short. This is takeaways from Trump's year-end address to the nation. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. President Donald Trump used a pre-holiday address from the White House on Wednesday to portray his first year in office as a success story, even as Americans worry about the economy and Republicans face tough midterm elections in 2026. Here are 4 takeaways from the speech. Biden, Biden, Biden. Trump began his remarks with 14 words that captured the central theme of the night. Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess and I'm fixing it. Down here is the true crux of his message. In other words, it's not my fault. Trump, all night long, kept trying to convince people it wasn't his fault that we're in the mess we're in. When he knows it's lying, it is his fault. It's the fault of his tariffs and his immigration policy and his international relations that all suck. Anyway, the president responding to voters' anxiety over cost of living laid blame at the feet of former President Joe Biden in nearly 20 minutes that followed, mentioning the name 7 times. The economy, Biden's fault. Crime, Biden. Healthcare, Biden. Bad immigration policy, you guessed it, Biden. Trump often blamed Biden for problems that have festered during his first year in office, from Russia's war in the Ukraine to the eyesore of offshore wind farms. He followed that playbook again on Wednesday, particularly when it came to the high cost of living, which he sought to cast as fleeting, just as Biden once did when prices rose. What a difference a year makes, Trump said, dismissing the mood of the consumers. Sorry about that. Adding that the U.S. is poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen, which is the biggest line of bullshit, horse-pucky, hog manure I've ever in my fucking life heard. All he did was complain about Biden and complain about immigration and drugs and how the economy was going to get better, which everything that he said, everything that came out of his mouth was a lie. You can fact check it. There are articles out there right now that fact check it, and it's all lies. Under Biden, inflation dropped to 2%. That's a fact. I know it because I follow the economy. Before he lost the election before his vice president lost the election to Donald Trump. And if Biden had stayed in, which I wanted and I fought for him, we would have won that election. So that was a total Democratic fuck up. A foobar, fucked up beyond all recognition. That's what the Democrats did for us. That's why we're in the situation we're in. A lot of people stayed home because, I hate to say it, they didn't want to vote for a woman. And I don't know how long it's going to be before the white male stigma gives way and we can actually have a woman for a president, but it's not there yet. And it showed very much in the 2024 elections by the number of voters that stayed home because they didn't want to vote for a woman as the Democratic candidate. Anyway, everything that came out of Trump's mouth last night was a lie. And if you looked at his jerking his shoulder up and his mouth was crooked and he was like just almost jumping out of his skin, I think the guy had been shot up with amphetamines, speed, because the guy was talking a mile a minute and he was on something. You could see it in his eyes. I don't know if it was ketamine or methadone or something, but the guy just totally, ketamine I think is a sedative, but anyway, he was just totally looped. And there's no doubt in my mind, I've been around long enough around stoners to know that he was stoned out of his mind when he gave that speech last night. Anyway, this is JC, St. Louis's oldest living hippie, saying, fuck you, Donald Trump, and fuck all the lies you told people last night. And to all my friends, family, followers, and subscribers, I love you all. Pox and more, Jack, and keep on trucking.